Hello 110, welcome to your week 2 update. Like I said, badly produced YouTube videos. This week we're going to take a look at your first deep dive into short story and reaction to short story in terms of device, particularly the more common like theme, plot, character, symbol, right? Those that should be pretty familiar to you. Um, the real trick here will be to consider how you react to those as much as just being able to identify them. There are kind of two traps that befall these responses in initial forays into reader response. The first trap is that we get too much of just your reaction to said example. Or the other trap is that you go and find all these different metaphors, but we don't have much of your reaction to them. So you don't want to make it like a treasure hunt either way. The idea is that you generate a response based on the items present in the story and are able to interact with those devices in a way that has a little more aplomb to it than perhaps, oh, I think this is cool. I think this is cool is where a good place to start if there's something that you like, look at that thing and then give it a little deeper look in terms of maybe what devices that work with it. I think it's cool is not like, we're trying to ask for just a little bit more than if you're going to talk about literature and values and benefits, right? Isolated character incidents are only as good as the end of the story. But if we are able to read it as an example of this or understand that it works like this, then those sorts of understandings can be used in other venues, other genres, other contexts. And then it's worth your while. Otherwise, what do you really care about the narrator in the yellow wallpaper? Not much. But if we recognize it beyond itself, well, then it's worth our time and our study and worth your money and credit too, no less. So treat it like that. Yes, I realize it's probably one of a zillion things you want to get done, but you are paying for this opportunity, so make the most of it. I think you'll find the selections varied, as well as somewhat interesting. None of them are too challenging, though if we have problems, please reach out via email, and I'll be happy to get with you individually via Zoom, or if we have enough people and we can set up a convenient time, we can set up a Zoom chat if that would be helpful. I think, though, for the most part, you should be able to hit the ground running and be just fine, especially if you're using the introductory chapter elements, which is my last note, and then we'll take a look at the assignment specifically. Don't skip over that stuff. I know it seems superfluous and an extra burden on your time, but you'll be happy in the end in that it'll make your work with the stories easier and ultimately your two papers much easier. So please don't skip over that stuff like theme and reading about theme in the story and that sort. Yes, these are old tag words, but a little refresher and or a little reminder, and perhaps you just get something new, and that wouldn't hurt either. Okay, let's take a look at the assignments together and see where they are and get you on your way. For week 2, I thought it would be interesting to make sure that I can save you a couple of clicks and make a little bit easier use of our format here on Canvas. Obviously, this is our home page, beautiful headshot included. To maneuver to where you need to go and make sure to keep up with where to turn in and where to find assignments other than in the assignments tab is modules. Modules works the best because it sort of collates everything into nice, easy groupings, and it's honestly how I organize the course. You can access it in different ways, but if you're moving in the same way that it's organized, it's probably easier for you. So course materials and syllabus you've seen. I think I wanted to point out to you simply this, these two tabs here. Papers has a lot of information for you about both papers for the semester, as well as thematic groupings of chapters or stories rather as part of the text. Oftentimes I get questions regarding the second paper of, I've read such and such story, I don't know what else to sort of pair with it, what do I do? And I end up sending this to people. It's here for you now, and if I have to send it to you later, no big deal, but just thought I'd point it out, as well as both prompts. Then the other thing that's useful is grading materials. I've given you all kinds of stuff under here for you to go through at your leisure. A couple of things to draw your attention to. First, a refresher of MLA 8 is never a bad thing. Oftentimes, it's the thing that people struggle with the most in terms of the course. It's not so much the content or the understanding of the story necessarily as it is sort of the mechanics of operating in a humanities class. So review this for yourself as necessary. And word of warning about citation generators, we all use them. I'd be a hypocrite to say we don't, but double check it. They're oftentimes wrong or do something wacky when you copy and paste. So please double check it. Basic review of grammar and punctuation, use as necessary. This is worth your time for a refresher, incorporating quotes, avoiding dropped quotes. This is always a big issue that we see a lot in early humanities works, particularly when we're using textual references. How to avoid them, right? What to capitalize and when. This is always an issue too. So there are some good links there to make use of and refresh your memory as you need. And then the last is sort of the odd sort of things that are really frequent in humanities classes, but not necessarily so in other places, about punctuating titles, like when to use italics, when to underline, what gets quotation marks, little things like that, just so that you're operating on as a professional level as possible, right? All under grading materials. Then you've got this week, which you were in, right? Week 1, as well as this new week, and here we are. So usually I give you the set of objectives early in the week, and they are very similar to what you'll find in the announcement that comes out weekly as well. But just in case, you have to read A and P, which has some sample text associated with it, showing you how to sort of analyze and read as you prepare for a reader response, which might be a new genre for you if you haven't taken any English humanities classes in a while, or if this is indeed your first. This would be a nice way to start. Yes, there is a reading comprehension quiz on it. The quiz shouldn't be a big issue. The bigger purpose is to read and sort of see how humanities reading for a reader response is generated. Then once you do that, I would suggest choosing either Sonny's Blues or The Open Boat. And actually, you have to choose one of the following two, this one or this one. I've grouped them here or sort of hit the highlights as to what they're known for. Like Sonny's Blues is particularly plot heavy. Open Boat is particularly theme and symbol heavy. But that doesn't mean that these other elements and devices aren't a part of both stories. They are. I've just given you some sort of helpful starters, right? Places to start. If you focus on this and this within The Open Boat, you'll be okay. If you focus on this within Sonny's Blues, you'll have some things to say. For those of you who see other things in there, wonderful. I'm interested to see. So you read A and P, and you read your choice, and you complete the DB3 Part 1 by Wednesday at midnight, right? Then you have to complete all reading quizzes, here's a little twist, by Friday at 11:59, the quizzes, right? And then you can reply to 2 student colleague responses by Sunday at midnight, okay? In order to accommodate the length and number of stories that you got going on this week, we extended the Part 2 out. So there it is, okay? If you want to work ahead, here are the stories that you'll be reading next week. Some great ones in here, and pretty much all accessible. So that gets you through this week. As far as what to turn in or where, here are your quizzes. Here's your DB3. And I've reattached the Elements of a Short Story packet, as well as giving you a link to an interactive reading of A&P, perhaps, if you want to check it out that way. Great Updike story, classic one as part of a literature studies course for a variety of reasons. So hope that helps. There you go, week 2 in a nutshell. Okay, you've seen the assignments, and before we check out of the home office here, incidentally, I do have a home office, though my wife also works for home. Not sure how we decided I'd be out here. But anyway, I thought I'd let you go with a little bit of fun. It's gaining on Halloween here, so something for you to ponder. Why are ghosts terrible in photographs? It's because the spirit is willing, but the flesh is weak. No? All right. Well, 3 vampires walk into a bar. The bartender says to the first one, "Hey, what do you want?" The first bartender says, "I'll have a blood." Asks the second vampire what he wants. The vampire tells him, "I'll have a blood too." And the bartender asks the last vampire, says, "Hey, what do you want?" And the vampire says, "Well, I think I'll have a plasma." The bartender says, "Yeah, got it. 2 bloods and a blood light." You're nurses, I'm sure you got that one. Okay, that's it. Again, email with questions and or concerns, and we'll take care of you. Happy reading.